Today, the Commando loadout is often seen as a symbol of strength, but when it first emerged, Britain held no advantage in ground firepower. Go back to 1940. When German forces broke through the Western Front, British units were pushed back toward the sea. The evacuation of Dunkirk saved the men, but the cost was Britain's entire physical presence on continental Europe. Britain did not lose its army, but it lost the battlefield. They could not return through a large-scale infantry landing. There was no beachhead that could be held and supplied. To continue the war, Britain could only reappear on the battlefield with small forces, deployed quickly, and withdrawn immediately after the mission was complete. This was not the return of infantry, it was the return of action. The Commando loadout was shaped by that pressure. Item 1. Thompson M1928. Landing with a small team is always a gamble. The moment the boat touches shore, commandos can be detected, engaged at close range, or stopped before reaching the objective. With limited manpower, they cannot afford to be pinned. That is why they deliberately chose a form of firepower that can overwhelm in the first seconds of contact. The Thompson allows commandos to generate high fire density the moment contact is made, at close range in confined coastal spaces. No full formation required, no deployment time needed. Contact means fire. For the commandos, the Thompson is not meant for prolonged fighting. It is carried to reduce risk during the most dangerous phase of the mission, from landing to reaching the objective. If that moment is survived, the mission can truly begin. That is why the Thompson stands at the top of the Commando loadout. Item 2. Lee Enfield, No. 1 Mark III. At longer distances, when targets lie beyond the effective range of submachine guns, the Thompson no longer provides control. In those situations, the team needs a weapon that can deliver accurate fire at extended range. The Lee Enfield fills that role. It is used to control open ground, engage distant targets, maintain pressure while the team moves. It does not replace the Thompson, and not every commando carries one. The Lee Enfield exists to solve problems the submachine gun cannot reach. Item 3. Sidearm. The sidearm is carried for moments when the primary weapon cannot be used. In tight spaces, when the main weapon jams, runs dry, or cannot be brought back into action in time, an immediate option is required. The Colt 1911 fills that gap. Fast draw. Immediate fire. No repositioning, no preparation. The sidearm exists only to bridge the most dangerous moment between failure and recovery. Item 4. Fragmentation grenade. Commandos are not designed for prolonged firefights. They operate with a clear task: hit a specific target, destroy it, and withdraw. In this mission type, the greatest danger is not enemy numbers. It is a single blocking position, a corner, a sentry post, a doorway, a narrow corridor. With small numbers, they cannot grind forward meter by meter, and they cannot afford casualties to clear one position. Grenades become the proactive solution. Each commando typically carries 2 to 4 grenades, not for defense, but because that is a number of obstacles a small team may need to remove in one mission. No prolonged exposure, no firing through cover, just forcing the enemy out of position or silencing them long enough for the mission to continue. If the Thompson opens contact, the grenade breaks the blockage. It resets tempo, allows charges to be placed, and enables withdrawal. Item 5. Fairbairn, Sykes knife. Gunfire is not always the right choice. Every shot triggers reaction, and for a small team operating deep in enemy territory, that reaction can push the mission out of control. When silent approach is required, when a sentry must be removed, or when contact occurs at zero distance, a quiet tool is needed. The Fairbairn Sykes knife exists for exactly those moments, not to replace firearms, not for prolonged combat, only to resolve a situation quickly and silently. The knife exists in this loadout not to fight more, but to avoid fighting more. Item 6. Demolition, explosives. Commandos do not land to fight, they land to destroy something specific. A dock, a fuel depot, a factory, a radar station, a key military structure. Weapons and grenades get them to the objective. Explosives complete the mission. Each man typically carries 4 to 8 sticks of gelignite, not to create one large explosion, but to have enough charges for each required point: a generator, a support column, a pipeline, a machinery cluster. No need to hold ground, no need to defeat the enemy force, only to ensure the target no longer functions after they leave. In this loadout, explosives are not secondary gear. They are the heaviest carried item and the sole reason the entire infiltration matters. Item 7. Load bearing. Commando missions are short. They do not carry equipment to live with. They do not carry equipment to stay. Pattern 1937 webbing exists only to carry mission essentials: ammunition, grenades, explosives. Everything else is stripped away. Light enough to move fast, not enough to slow the man. Item 8. Ammunition. Ammunition is carried only to sustain firepower for the duration of the mission. No surplus, no allowance for prolonged fighting. Item 9. Uniform. Commandos do not have a fully unique uniform. Their base layer is the standard British Army battle dress, pattern 1937. Over it, they wear the Denizen smock, first pattern. The Denizen does not replace the uniform. It does one job: breaking up body and equipment outlines to reduce immediate recognition. Standard inside, adaptive layer outside. Item 10. Headgear. Commandos use standard British Army headgear. When protection is required, they wear the steel helmet, Mark II. Helmet nets are often added to break outline and attach simple camouflage. Nothing specialized. When the steel helmet is not worn, the field service cap is used. Light, compact, unobtrusive. Item 11. Footwear. Commandos do not use specialized footwear. They wear standard British Army issue. No unique design, no special modification. Standard forms, used because they are available and familiar. Item 12. Canteen. Standard infantry issue, used only for drinking water. Enough to maintain strength over a short mission window, just enough to avoid exhaustion. Item 13. Rations. Commandos do not carry a fixed ration type. They carry food that is quick to eat, high in energy, not to eat fully, only to keep moving. Item 14. First field dressing. Commandos carry shell dressings, used only to stop bleeding temporarily, not for treatment, not for recovery, only to keep the wounded mobile or alive long enough to leave the area. First aid to enable withdrawal. Item 15. Wristwatch. Time determines when to continue and when to leave. The wristwatch is used to maintain action timing, avoid overstaying. Absolute precision is not required. Correct tempo is. Not everyone carries one. The commander does. Item 16. Signal. Timing devices. Whistles are carried for close-range signaling when shouting or hand signals are not possible. Used to rally quickly, signal phase changes, order withdrawal if the team is split. Flares are used sparingly, only when a pre-planned time marker is required or a position must be signaled. Once a flare is fired, the team must leave. A flare means visibility. Item 17. Objective reference. Carried to ensure the correct target is identified. Used to know exactly what to strike. Avoid wasting time searching. Item 18. Environmental protection. Carry for protection against water and wind during bad weather or immediately after landing. Worn when needed, removed when not. Item 19. Signature reduction. Carry to reduce immediate recognition. Used to break helmet outlines, reduce facial reflection. Not to become invisible, only to be harder to see. Item 20. Toggle rope. Used to climb walls and obstacles, haul personnel or equipment, link ropes into temporary crossings, evacuate wounded across difficult terrain. The toggle rope is not optional, and it is not mission dependent. It reflects the core role of the commandos, to infiltrate from directions that conventional infantry cannot reach. This loadout was not born from superiority. It emerged because fighting the old way was no longer possible. Not enough manpower to hold ground, not enough time to deploy, no conditions for a prolonged battle. Every item in this loadout is a direct response to those constraints. Firepower to break through, explosives to finish the task, lightweight gear to get in and get out as fast as possible. This is not a loadout of overwhelming strength. It is a loadout of adaptation. And from that adaptation, the Commandos shaped a completely different way of fighting.